I just try to write history. I try to bring something that people don't really see from day to day. I just try to make people feel weird, make people wonder, make people doubt themselves, make people really believe in themselves, and I just try to bring that within just being myself. And by me just doing myself brings those that believe in me. It's like that saying, tell me who you hang with and I'll tell you who you are. And those that hang out with me will define you. And this is the definition of this exhibition.
That's right. Commemorative.
Right?
Shirts.
Dude, it's cool because I didn't even know this guy was making these shirts for me.
By being poor, by not having nothing. The only reason I became an artist is because I didn't want to have a real job. And that was that was just like the initial spark behind everything that is now here. And it's crazy to look at because it all started for me now having to work for someone, for not me having to listen to someone. I was never good at school, and that's what made me realize who I was. I realized that I'm not good at listening to people. I just like to make my own decisions, and I like to make my own ways, my own formulas, and ever since then I never looked back. And that's what started everything, you know. It just started for me just believing in myself and not wanting to have a job. And never in my life have I ever had a job, and I've always lived out of art, and that's what I do to this day.
I think it's very simple, you know. I just feel like as an artist we don't really require a lot to be happy, you know. We might not live the best financial lives, but we definitely live the most free out of everybody, you know. We just
the border, that's me. That's who you see right now. That's who you're talking to right now. The border, la frontera. That's where I come from. That's my blood. That's my roots. That's my history. This is who I am right now as I speak, you know. And this is as real as it gets, you know, because la frontera makes me. Ni de acá, ni de allá. It's just both cities. Is one to me. I think it needs some more love, and I think it needs some more unity. I think the Visionaries are proving everybody in the Paso scene that the power of what it is to be connected, the power of what it is to be the power of unity. The Visionaries is one of the few collectives in El Paso to this day to just come together as like-minded individuals from different backgrounds and just say, fuck it. We feel the same way, and we're gonna fucking do it. And if you realize how hard is that to find, and nowadays, people are just so full of shit. People don't even know who they are. So even coming around individuals like us is a gift. But not many people see it as a gift. I want to be greater than myself. Nobody's telling me to move but myself. And only you know how much you're fucking up. Only you know how much you need. Only you know what it takes for you to be bigger than yourself. So in a sense, I just want to beat myself. And I know how good I am. And I know how much love I have in El Paso. And I know that love will always be there. But the fact that I choose to take it international, I want to be in the international game. And I know I will. And all I need is just 1 year, 2019. That's going to be the year that I take over the world, and I just put my message across and do what I'm doing here in other countries, in other cities. But at the end of the day, it's love, you know. It's naturally, and at the end of the day, it's free. It's free, you know. It makes me feel free.
Rick, oh man. So what have people used? I've heard. I don't want to be spoiled, so I'm going to say he's a storm. it's electric and eclectic. You know, he does what he needs to do, and you know, he's a force. He's a titan. You know, at such a young age, he has a lot of wisdom in him. You know, and I think that's very indicative of his ability to kind of observe and learn from his environment, from other people, and you know, that's part of his success, and that's gonna take him worldwide easily.
Skin Wars, fuck. Skin Wars definitely changed my life. 3 years ago, that was 3 years ago. That was so tripped out. Even to this day, I got people recognize me throughout the world, and it really gave me a reality check of how powerful it is to be real. Because throughout that show, I was real to myself. Never did I fucking fake the funk. And that's something you can't do. You can't fake the funk. At the end of the day, you're gonna end up losing more for trying to fucking be something that you're not. And from the fact that I was just, I mean, whether you like it or not, well, fuck you. And to prove to El Paso that there's a lot of talent in this city, but there's not a lot of unity. This city is very diverse. Everybody wants to eat each other. Everybody wants to be better than each other. And everybody just doesn't have that gift to come across another visionary and decide to create something bigger. And I've been in the game in El Paso for like the past 10 years, and I could tell you from experience, not many people could do that. Not many people could work with other people. So many people are very talented, but they don't have the gift to be like, you know what, let's cut the ego aside, we could create something bigger. And I'm just here to prove that no pasa nada.
Everybody, honestly, like, I can honestly say we all met because of art and music and because of Power at the Pass. Creation. Yeah, like, we could get, like, yeah, creation, like, everybody that is here creates something. So we're, like, all super different in what we do, but everybody creates something. Music, art, everything, you know? The authors, music.
These are all the minds behind the exhibition.
Well, I started with dancing, and that's how I met these guys. I would break dance out in like Folks Plaza and over there in downtown. And I met them, and then that's how I met them, and I used to do like paintings too, so we got more connected. So that's how it went. Like, it just started with it's in you, you know what I mean? Like, it just happens.
I am a composer and a producer that is from Los Angeles, that is a new El Pasoan.
Jerry, you know, this is all you.
Yeah, dude, thanks. I got my shit, man. Got my Pasa Nada. It's probably the only normal shirt I have.
I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever seen you wear a t-shirt.
Hey, I don't even...
Well, I have to say I'm very fortunate because I sought out El Paso to find raw, individualistic art that's different than Los Angeles, and it's exactly what I found. So I was pretty happy about that.
See his legs. And I said, fuck this, I'm gonna start wearing the dopest armor I can. And then I started designing all the stuff. I didn't make this, but I designed it, which is cool.
There's a really great creative scene in El Paso, but a lot of people don't find it. I've been involved with that. So just, I think naturally over time, I started gravitating towards different members of Los Visionaries. You know, I think the first show they ever did was at Glassbox, and I think that it got a little crazy at one point. They didn't have an MC, and that's like my thing. So the next year, we actually did an art show where I was able to MC and be part of an event that they threw together. It was their 2nd year anniversary, and I did a poem based on one of the pieces. It was a collaboration with Erica and Victor Soto, Erica J, Victor Soto, called Desert Rituals. And I did a poem for it that I performed with percussion, and I've been able to, since then, to just make friends with all of them and really just gravitate towards the power of creation and the positivity around that.
Art community right now, when I first started, like I said, I've been art my whole life, and it was pretty dismal at first. And now there's a lot of people putting in work, not just me, just whole other collectives too out there. Everyone is putting their work into loving El Paso and putting an art scene back into El Paso, and now it's budding, and now it's really rewarding to see all your hard work bud up and everything just blossom into like a renaissance. And that's where pretty much right now, where El Paso is right now, we're at a second renaissance for the El Paso art scene. And everyone, not just me, everyone else, all the artists, main town artists here, who are making it possible.
Power at the Pass, which is the title to my second book, which is a story of Don Shapiro, the owner of the building and multiple properties in this area. Power at the Pass is his building, but it's more of an agency, a marketing, content creation agency that is focused on building up brands and helping businesses grow, small and large, utilizing unique storytelling and content creation. It's the fact that I have a business partner who's, you know, from New York City, from the Bronx, and he used to have showcase shows for the models in Vegas and Los Angeles, so New York. So he comes from this whole culture that's second nature to him. So his vision and his allowing us to use the space has been what makes the show, you know, memorable, in that it's got its own showcase room, and unlike any in the region, in the area.
I did a lot of shit for a lot of people, and now I'm proud of what I'm doing, and now I feel like I'm part of a family, and I feel stronger now because I'm part of this group. A lot of everything that you see here was a lot of me. And it's because I believed in Rick and the vision and Goober and everybody, and it's not even about us anymore, you know what I mean? It's about bringing the city up, and it's about bringing El Paso up. It was a solo show. It's like we live in the wild, wild west in the art world, because El Paso, like, we're a big city, but we're a small city, you know what I mean? Like, we have a big city, but we have a small town feel, and a lot of things aren't professional, and a lot of things are like Mickey Mouse, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's whack, but it's kind of like not at the caliber of other cities. A lot of this is a story, and it's a timeline. So you walk into the day, and you walk into the brightness, into the gallery, and then you walk through the life, you know what I mean? And it's part of the timeline, it's part of the trip, and it's part of everything that happens through Los Visionaries. And Los Visionaries is Mexico and US together, you know what I mean? Like we love El Paso so much that it hurts, you know what I mean? Like so much that our ancestors are coming through us, so we can like let people know like we're proud to be Mexican, dude. You know what I mean? I'm Mexican first, American second. We're not trying to be American anymore, and we're not trying to be Mexican anymore. We're like both, you know what I mean? Like when I grew up, I was trying to be white because I grew up like in Texas, and everybody wants you to assimilate. I'm like, fuck that. You know, I'm so proud to be Mexican. I'm so proud to be from the border. I'm so proud that my mom was from Chihuahua.
So to this exhibition, you know, there's a lot of moving parts, and as you've heard, a lot of people contributed. Like initially, I helped move a lot of the pieces here up the stairs, like from his place up the stairs. And for the event, you know, one of the things I mentioned is doing live sound. We did have live music. We had bands like Lavelle Jones and Josh Brown, Stan Z. We had, you know, a couple other people come out and perform. But one of the things that I've been able to do as well is MC. And to me, that sets the mood. you know, people come in and I get to announce the show and also kind of give highlights to the kind of work. For example, a lot of people wouldn't have known that Airship Enoch did the live music for the rooms, and so I kept on mentioning that to people as they were in the room, like, hey, as you walk through, I just want you to know that these are original soundtracks composed in-house from Airship Enoch. And of course, highlight other things like merchandise that was for sale, and pointing people, you know, encouraging people to take lots of photos, lots of pictures. And to me, that's the master of ceremonies, keep things chill, inviting. And of course, I was doing sound for the live music, which people enjoyed, and it's always good. Yeah.
This is just like the beginning, you know what I mean? Like, this is not what I really pictured, but it was just like a sketch, you know what I mean? You can say it's just a little thing right now. Like, the real picture was just like a big Rick, like from the corner, like his head bending down in the ceiling, his feet here in the ground, like huge, you know, barely fitting in the room. So this is just like a little sketch pretty much, and you know, by time I guess I'm gonna start working on the real one. So this is just like, I started with the bottle that was with the head. It was a gallon bottle, and I just put it on on a stick, and I start wrapping it with paper, and I start making the shape of his face with tape and random paper, and then by the time I start putting glue all around it, I got like yarn and to make his dreads, and this is chicken wire all wrapped up, and I just wrapped it up with cloth and I don't know, random stuff on it, painted it, and then it took me like a week, I guess you can say. I had a short time before the show was gonna start. Like, I was like doing it. Yeah, I made it happen, brought it to life.
This one was a lot of what I learned throughout the whole collective about learning, setting up shows, a lot of background work, logistics, making sure people know what their tasks are, and making sure they get it done. Pretty much just like organizing everything, and then setting up all the lights and all the background stuff that actually needs to be done. These artists want like an image done, but you need a way to do it, and that's where I come in. I make sure they get it done. Like, I make sure they do it how they want to do it, and it portrays how the vision they see. Pretty much told me that he was doing a solo exhibition, and when it comes to like the crew and the collective, I'm always the first one to offer, like, well, whatever you guys need, just let me know, and I'll make sure it happens. And he already knows that, so he was confident. Like, once he told me he was having a show, I told him I got your back, and that's pretty much where it started from. And yeah, as long as he knows to have me back, like, he knows what he needs to be done will be done.
I showed up. Honestly, it was just Rick. He had his vision, and I didn't even ask. I just told him, like, hey, what do you need? And he said, I need a lot. And I was like, okay, well, I'm down. And then, so I did all the lighting. I did all the installation pieces. I did all the curating of the pieces, like of the flow of everything. Rick had so much on his plate because he was doing all the art, you know what I mean? So it was like, hey, we should kind of do this like this and this like this, you know what I mean? So just kind of like curating the vibe, I guess.
We wouldn't have had a space for the exhibition to have happened the way it happened if it not had been for Rick's and my connection and relationship. We opened up the space, and I had to really negotiate and barter with my business partners and the family that owns the region, the building, so that we can allow this kind of space and this kind of art exhibit to really take life. Because it's one thing to have art is here, the talent is here, no doubt about that. If you provide the space in a way that's open and that's liberated, and we're not bound by by grants or by patronage, so to speak, or you're really like what you would see in the bigger markets of entrepreneurs and visionaries and business people opening up their space to showcase the ethos and the art and the creativity of a region, and what the people have to offer, and what the artists have to offer, and how do you make El Paso and Juarez, how do you showcase, how do you provide a foundation so that artists here can have the platform and can be excited about a place where they can showcase their artwork that lives outside of the formalized institutions? How do you work with your community? How do you cultivate philanthropy? How do you open up the corridors to traditional conservative, or not conservative, how do you open up the imagination for business people to exist outside the comfort zone and understand that art is really what brings people to an area. Art and the ethos and the expression is what really inspires people to come to a certain area so that they can grow themselves and they can experience and they can find ways to really reach and be the person that they wanted to be.
Organically, me and Enks decided to make a beat one night, and we're sitting there putting down the drums, little keys, and just made it bang out for a few hours. And then the next day he was walking past, I think, the forest room and said, I want to hear some birds, I want to hear some owls, I want to hear some wind blowing. And so I was like, all right, I can do that. Hopped behind the computer and then started playing different sound effects, which then birthed into songs for each room. The heart room, the Aztec room, and the forest room.
Man, that's crazy. Rick is just a brother, you know, like he cares about his own family, you know, like, and I just describe him as a brother. That's all I can say. I mean,
you know, Rick is your, he's the classic, not a classic, he's a new formation of perspectives of what it means to be, or what it means to live on the border. You know, and I mean border is the obvious border is a dry riverbed, you know, with 4 or 5 entrances from Santa Teresa to Zaragoza, and that lead to Juarez. 2 million people, approximately 1 million people here. I think Rick is a ratio of humanity.
Hey, Valentin.
Loco. Like a ancient spirit trapped in a modern vessel. A magnet. Let's just say Rick's a magnet. Rick is a big magnet, and that's channeling a lot of other stuff. And he brings a lot of people towards him that believe in the vision that he wants to do. Let's say a spiritual magnet. A spiritual magnet. Let's say that.
So the way I would describe Rick, as I was saying, was that Juarez has 2 million people and Paso has 1 million people. So for me, Rick is the ratio of the creative bravado of hundreds of years that have come together on this dry desert borderland, and he carries that energy of presenting his work with tenacity and boldness because he knows what's at stake. And El Paso and Juarez, we're all forced to some extent recognize what's at stake, you know, and
lo que te hace falta es de que todos se mueren, pero los espíritus se quedan en el planeta. Yo siento que tengo un espíritu que ya ha vivido lo que ha sentido, y por eso mismo no siento muchas cosas, porque es como los espíritus nomás están viviendo aquí. Y la gente se muere y la gente nace todos los días, y ese ciclo nunca va a parar. Nomás siento que me tocó un pinche espíritu que no mames.
Pues por eso digo que por eso es una representación. It's a representation of the cycle of years of life and the millions of people that have been here. You creatively interpret that. The reason why he's got a name and he's won what he's won and he's going where he's going, he's going to go to the world, is because of that hypersensitivity of the spiritual dimensions of the region, of the expansion of consciousness. And that's what Power at the Pass is. It really is the power before El Paso del Norte is like you leave to go find power somewhere else. The new age, the new era for people like age, or for people like the Visionaries and younger generations, is you can find the power here. You can find the power here.
The new era is connected in the spiritual term, in the spiritual conscience of mind. That's the bottom line. The universe is the key.
Art. You know what I mean? It's art. It's colors, different end sounds, lots of sounds. But organic, in simple terms, real.
Enks told me a story. Boom. He was like, this chick broke my heart, but my art heart, not my real heart. I was like, dang, this is
broke
gonna be
my
good.
heart.
Yeah.
Dude, she knew where to get me at that time. I was like,
Ooh, that's deadly.
And I was like, damn, you really went there? And I'm like, fuck. I didn't really think about it twice. I was like, shit happens for a reason. What can I do now that this is already fucked up? But now I have a story behind it, you know?
Yeah.
But that beat was super dope. I like how it just stops, like, the heartbeat. It's just like, dee.
Yeah, that's when we started getting amped on that. And I used the Deep Mind too, which is a dope keyboard. Let's play this sucker. This one was
next door with the Eddie Mary's in the heart and all that.
This is what I was telling you about playing chords. I was able to sit there on the Deep Mind and literally play out these chords while I could sneak my finger up and raise the frequency to make it open up. And I was able to do that and do that at the same time, and it created this vibe in the beginning of like I don't know, I love that sound. I will always love that sound from now on.
Yeah, that shit right there is like
Because it's not sad, it's not happy, it's like this, almost like triumph. Like I've been knocked down, but now I'm about to grow and like get like fucking bigger. Imagine like veins going.
You have that visual.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
animation with it.
Yeah.
I can see the heart like starting some shit and slowly it just evolves.
Imagine it back to life. Little pulses, man. Illumination. Get that
That was great.
You know, hopefully we can do something every month where we work with different artists from UTEP, the different department heads. That way UTEP exists outside of the institutions, outside of its own island. You know, it's a beautiful island, but how do you connect to your community? That is a real reflection, as you just see with Rick and Enks and the energy from Juarez and El Paso. How do you make education pertinent? How do you keep it alive, and how do you keep it healthy, and that way it doesn't exist within a formalized institution? You see that you can connect to that, and UTEP's very necessary, education is very necessary, obviously. But how do you make that pertinent to the community, and how do you make it real for generations to come? How do you create excitement, you know, within the people here that can see what they see in bigger markets and bigger cities? You see it right here. You see it right here.
We're gonna get. I go to UTEP classes, man. I go to teach.
You went to one UTEP class, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't count, bro.
But no, the thing is about that class talks to all the classes, and that's how I take control of all the classes.
Okay, so we'll say cheers to you guys. And cheers to us. Honestly, it was a lot of hard work. And like, dude, thank you. Honestly, thank you. This is not just about one person, gentlemen. It's all about everyone.
No pasa nada.